Yes, you know the vibes. Welcome back to another live stream. Welcome back to another Chelsea versus Spurs preview. And welcome to a combined 11. First time we've done this at the very least a good couple of weeks. But it's glad to get everyone back. We got the best panel around as per usual. First off, want to big up the partner in crime himself, Lawrence. How you saying, man? What are you good? What are you saying, man? You good?
Yeah, I'm good. Just watched Tuchel's press conference. Some interesting team news that I'm sure we will get into in just a minute. But yeah, I'm good. Excited for this. Let's see what the combined 11 says, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, you can keep me updated as well because I haven't even seen the press conference. We were sorting out the live preview on We Are Tottenham TV as well. So guys, check that out as well. But before we go any further, shout out Ben as well. What are you saying?
Come on. Yeah, all good, man. I see you guys have double teaming me today. You're going to try and get some Chelsea players that aren't supposed to be in there, yeah?
I mean, we're shameless. Like, I can't lie. I'm going to go and I'm going to get someone to back me up. You already know what it is. But guys, if you guys haven't done so already, smash the like and subscribe button. Check out We Are Tottenham TV if you guys haven't already checked them out. I don't know what you man are doing, but still check them out. Smash the like and subscribe button and check out the all-time combined 11 that we just dropped on their channel. It should be dropping out sometime today, but guys, check out whenever it drops anyway. But before we start the combined 11, I do want to talk about both teams' form going into the game, especially Tottenham's form, because I'm glad we're not having this game a few weeks ago, because if we did, this would be so one-sided. I actually probably wouldn't even be asked for the preview, but here we are. It's a new manager. It's that new bounce again. We get to feel optimistic. We're just used to this feeling anyway, but we're here. But looking at Spurs, since the last time we met, 3 wins, 3 draws, 4 losses. You guys are in danger of losing 3 games on the bounce if you lose to us as well. And I do want to just ask the question, what's happened to you guys? I mean, I'm not going to mock it too much because, again, it was a top-of-the-table clash last time we met. And it ain't like you're the only ones that have dropped off of that since then. But we've had the new manager bounce. So at the very least, we're sitting there saying we've changed things up. What's happened with you guys?
I mean, we've won 2 games in our last 9, which has been completely dreadful. But you got to look at the last 2 games since that second half of the Liverpool game, and obviously the full 90 minutes against Brighton. It's been nothing less of a disgrace, to be honest. It's been completely diabolical. If you look at the games before then, you would say, yeah, maybe we were unlucky to drop points. And a lot of games that we've dropped points in this season, I would say we've been unlucky to drop points, and it's kind of heavily gone into individual errors from players like Eric Dyer, Davinson Sanchez, just individual errors where they would play well for 90 minutes, but it's just those slips that kind of are costing us, where we're not finishing our chances as well. But the cause for concern is really the last 2 games. Half-time at the Liverpool game, something just happened with that goal just before half-time, and our team just completely switched off, which is completely worrying. That second half was a joke. It really was. And then the 90 minutes against Brighton, oh my days. Lack of movement, lack of running, lack of confidence, lack of passion. I mean, it is really worrying. And that's why I'm so worried going into this Chelsea game. I mean, if you would have asked me this 2 weeks ago before this Liverpool game and Brighton game, we were still on a bad run, but I still would have been quietly confident to get something out of this game because we were actually looking like we could have got something out of those games, but we just weren't. But these last 2 games really are a cause for concern.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask this as well, because you said it was a lot of individual mistakes that have kind of cost you. That's kind of been the same thing that we were on when it was Frank Lampard as well. So I am going to ask the question. I'm going to stir the pot a little bit here as well. Who is it more? Is it Jose Mourinho or is it the players? And it can also
players 100%. Players 100%. 100%. Well, look, Jose is not completely blameless in this, because I thought I think his game management is lacking a bit this season. I feel that the changes he makes sometimes are wrong. He leaves changes way too late sometimes in games to make. But he can't account for these individual errors that keep happening in games. I mean, the thing he can account for is picking these players every week, but he doesn't have too much choice. I would say that it's the players. You can see on the pitch how there's lack of movement and there's lack of kind of direction in our play. And I think that Jose Mourinho, more times than not, is kind of setting us up in a way to get the result. And I think that you got to look at games like the Newcastle game and a few other games this season, Wolves game and a few other games where we actually played really well. We haven't finished our chances and it's individual errors letting us down. So you can't really blame Jose for us not finishing our chances, and you can't blame him for these stupid headers, giving away headers in the box. I mean, it's completely ridiculous. I mean, everyone's to blame. There's no two ways about it, but all in all, I think the same players that let down Pochettino are now letting down Mourinho again.
Would you? Okay, I can get that in the sense of individual errors. You have explained that really well, but we have also said as well, and I do think I remember us talking about this before the last Chelsea Spurs game. We were saying you lot are basically one injury to Harry Kane or Heung-min Son away from total collapse. And granted, Harry Kane isn't really out for too long. It is only a few weeks, right?
Yeah,
it's only a few weeks. But same way, Harry Kane's now out this game, and we are not here celebrating injuries, but that is a massive advantage. And half the reason is because your attacking play is so heavily reliant on both Harry Kane and Heung-min Son. And is that another case of players? Is that a case of your tactics going forward as well?
Well, when you actually look at it, under Pochettino, whenever Harry Kane came out injured, Heung-min Son stepped up every time. And even so, when Harry Kane was injured under Pochettino, it looked like that our attack was a lot more fluid without the focal point of Harry Kane up there. You had Heung-min Son, you had Lucas Moura and what have you kind of moving around, very unpredictable. Last season, under Jose Mourinho, when Harry Kane went out injured, we also found a way around it with Heung-min Son pulling us through games, game after game. It was when he and Harry Kane were both injured, we literally fell flat on our asses. We couldn't win a game, we couldn't draw a game, and that's where we really got found out. The first game without Harry Kane injured, well, the first two games, half-time, he went off against Liverpool. You saw what happened there. Brighton, without Harry Kane, you saw what happened there. But I actually genuinely don't believe it was a Harry Kane issue against Brighton. I thought it was a question of the effort and the desire and the movement on the pitch and the actual confidence in the team. I feel that we can pull through without Harry Kane. It's just a question of Jose Mourinho adjusting the tactics. And you all know how good of a manager Jose Mourinho has been in the past, and I still think he is now. So you've got to say that Jose Mourinho's got to find a way around this mess without Harry Kane. We have to find a way. We've got players. We've got a sub-striker now in Vinicius. Yes, he hasn't hit the ground running. He hasn't kind of shown everyone what he's about in the Premier League yet. But in the Europa League, he scored, I think, 6 goals in terms of Europa League and Cup games altogether. So why not give him a go? We didn't give him a go against Brighton, but when he did come on in the second half, you saw that we had a different kind of dimension to our game. So coming into this game without Harry Kane, am I worried? Yes, of course I am, because Harry Kane's obviously our best. This season, he's been our best striker, best midfielder, best defender. But I still think we can get around it. You saw in the Cup game this year when we played you, we didn't have Kane and Son, and we beat you albeit on penalties, but we still got through that game.
Okay. Lawrence, anything you want to add to this before we go into combined 11?
It's interesting to hear that, you think, or Ben thinks that it's not just about Kane, because, obviously as an outsider looking in, and, I won't lie, I didn't watch the entirety of the Brighton game. You would assume, okay, second half against Liverpool was poor. That's when Kane was out. Then the Brighton game was poor. That's when Kane was out. You're fully right. Whenever every fan that's not a Spurs fan, especially Chelsea and Arsenal probably, whenever Kane's injured, we're like, yes, they probably drop points now. And then out of nowhere, Son starts scoring hat-tricks and braces every game. So let's hope that's not the case tomorrow, and certainly wasn't against Brighton. But yeah, no, it's interesting to hear. And it's just still weird to me to hear a Tottenham fan bigging up Mourinho. It's just weird.
Yeah, but the thing is, I think the past 2 seasons, Harry Kane has had a different role to what he has this season. So I think this season, we could actually suffer more without Harry Kane than we have previously.
So you think the system's now more over-reliant on Harry Kane as a player?
Because the way is with Harry Kane, we've seen it this season, how he drops deep, how he defends for the team from the centre of midfield, how he comes back to defend set pieces and what have you, and how he's also attacking from the front as well. So he's literally all over the park. So that's why I say it's on Jose Mourinho to change the system we play to suit a style without Harry Kane. And we all know, you two know more than me, how much of a good manager Jose Mourinho is. So I back him to do that.
Okay, cool. And that was going to be my final question before we went to the combined 11, but we'll just get that anyway. So you still fully believe in Jose Mourinho, because this is now starting to turn into a bit of debate as well. We literally had Elena and Sam Lav arguing for about 40 minutes straight on the last.
Whose side was Slav on?
Oh, Slav was Jose in. It's not
Okay.
Jose until the end. But go on. What's your thoughts anyway?
I'm Jose in 100%. There's no point in getting a manager like Jose Mourinho and not letting him get his team 100%. It was there for everyone to see how much he wanted upgrades in the defense in the summer. He didn't get that, albeit he got signings all over the pitch. He got the left back. We filled holes in the squad that we needed to in the summer, but there's still more upgrades we need to do to change that into a proper Jose team. Yeah, we looked good at the start of the season. We were top of the league and what have you, but individual errors have cost us all season, even when we were at the top of the league, and it's going to carry on basically influencing our season until we can upgrade the centre-back positions, until we can upgrade an Eric Dyer, until we can upgrade a Toby Alderweireld, Davinson Sanchez, and also a right-back, because obviously Matt Doherty's come in and not done it at all. So I think until we can sort out the defence completely, there's no way we can play a proper Jose system. We're going to keep going into that ultra-pragmatic approach, I believe.
All right, cool. Well, let's go straight into combined 11. Before we start this, I do want to just ask 2 questions so we can get basic rules in. Now, are we doing ability or are we doing form? Because this is a very key question.
I think ability. We just ability in terms of what, their whole career or just this season?
No, just how good we feel they are, whether that's just recently because they're young or whether that's, not necessarily career, but form is like, well, then you can't pick Kane because he's injured. Like,
So Premier League form. Let's put it at that. Premier League ability.
Premier League ability. Okay, cool. Let's do that. We'll start in goal. Hugo Lloris versus Edouard Mendy. Now, Hugo Lloris, quality goalkeeper. I won't say too much, but same way as you're going to say for Edouard Mendy, there is a mistake in them. Although I do think you're more likely to catch an error off for Hugo Lloris than you are for Edouard Mendy. Just my opinion.
Mendy hasn't been in the league long enough, in my opinion, to stack him up against Hugo Lloris. I think Hugo Lloris, World Cup winning captain, he's been one of the top goalkeepers in the Premier League since he's joined Tottenham. And I think since last year, since he come back from his injury, I believe he's been in the top 2 goalkeepers in the Premier League. Albeit, yes, he made a mistake very recently against Liverpool. Was it against Liverpool? I think it was. But I think that since his injury, I do think he's been up there with Alisson for the top 2 goalkeepers in the Premier League. I think that's probably his only mistake he's made since then.
Yeah, I mean, I would understand picking Lloris over Mendy just because Mendy has not been here for long enough. Although, is that fair? But we decided on ability, and personally, hey, Chelsea fans hate me all you want. I think full stop ability, Hugo Lloris is a better goalkeeper than Edouard Mendy.
Yeah.
Damn it, man.
Agreed.
I drawn here to back the Chelsea point.
See, mate, I'm backing, saving it for the important places. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I was
just
going to give him left back, I'm still saying Mendy. I'm going to stick with Mendy and I'm going to be stubborn about it. But this one, because I don't want us to go back and forth for about 10 minutes on this, we'll leave this one as an in-between.
2-1, you know what I mean?
To what? Oh,
2-1. As in me and Lawrence 2, you 1. Go on, move on.
Moving on to right back, because I don't like the answer to that question personally. Reece James versus who are we going for? We're going for Aurier on the right?
Go Aurier.
I was going to ask, how's Doherty been this season? Because I haven't had a lot of good things.
Absolute rubbish. He hasn't had a good game for us literally since the start of the season, and I'm starting to question if he's ever going to make it at Spurs, to be honest. He just doesn't have the athleticism to get up and down in the system that we play. The system that we play is very different to the system Wolves play as well, so he was very suited to that, arriving late in the box for Wolves. But for us, I genuinely would get him sold in the summer if it was me.
What even happened with Aurier in the last game?
Aurier walked off at half time. I mean, it's only rumours we heard, but apparently he got in a big bust up with Hugo Lloris, Jose Mourinho as well. He got banished from the squad for the next game against Brighton. We'll see if he comes back against Chelsea. We'll see, but we really need him.
Well, let's hope he doesn't then.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because the way you lot are sounding about Doherty, it might actually be better off for us whether he does play. But same way, right back, it's an easy one in here. It's going to have to be Reece James.
100% Reece James. I'll give you that one.
Yeah, Reece James, that's an easy one. We can move on into the left back position. And This is a bit of a sticky one still. I can't lie. I am a very biased Chelsea fan. And even my bias is just this one's a bit too weak for this one still. And I know where we're going with this, but same way, talk to me about Reguilon this season because he has balled out for you guys. It is what it is.
Yeah, Reguilon has come in and hit the ground running for us. It was his debut against you lot. Made a mistake to give you the goal with that never-ending sliding tackle in the first half. But I thought from then on, he's literally grown from strength to strength to strength. His speed, his pace, athleticism is absolutely second to none. His crossing in the box is brilliant. It's just a shame now he's injured until the end of Feb. So I would call for Reguilon. I think he's an absolute baller. But as well, I think Chilwell's a good player too.
I'm just not sure whether you can give it to a player that's only here for a season.
So what do you mean?
Well, Reguilon, realistically, they want him back, don't they?
Well, I think it depends on Zidane. I think if Zidane leaves, then they might take him back. But I don't think Zidane fancies him.
Fair enough. Also, especially if they buy Alaba, who knows what position they're planning him to play in.
But the thing is, Real Madrid have Ferland Mendy, and he's supposed to be their best left back, even better than Reguilon.
True. That is true, to be fair. But do you think that was why you got him for so cheap?
Yeah, I think with that buyback clause in there, I think it suited all parties for the time being. Obviously, if he goes back there, we make a 15 million profit on him as well. So that will give us money, 45 million to splash on a new left back.
Yeah,
I mean, I will say as well, we are hearing rumours of a very late addition that might be added into this debate. But also, same way, like I like agendas. I am nowhere near the level where I can start running Marcos Alonso prop again. Like this will not happen. I don't mind it if you're talking about in a Chelsea Spurs sense, because then there actually is a bit of a debate. But no, we're talking a footballing sense, and in a footballing sense, Alonso has a goal in him, and that's about it.
I bet you he scores tomorrow, though. I bet you he scores.
I said that as well. Because I'm seeing so much Alonso prop, and it's like, I know this man's going to turn up against Tottenham because it's a London derby and he just loves it.
Go to at Wembley in that.
Exactly.
And at the Bridge last year, was it, or 2 years ago, he scored against us?
Oh, yeah. Last
year.
On the last good home games.
Look, I hate Marcos Alonso so much, but he always does something against us, always.
Yeah, same way. Safe for bringing up Marcos Alonso, but I can't lie. Alonso still ain't getting a sniffing in this debate. I'd rather have Ben Chilwell in this one, to be honest. But it's going to be
Reguilon, yeah?
Yeah, it's Reguilon. It's Reguilon. Like,
it's weird because I therefore back the Lloris over Mendy more than I back the Reguilon over Chilwell. I mean, I know Chilwell hasn't been in the best of form, but, that happens. I still think he's a better left back.
I mean, from an outsider looking in, I thought Chilwell's had a good season.
I do as well. So it's just some Chelsea fans seem to slag him off for some reason.
That's just
what Chelsea fans do, isn't
it? He's had a good first half. I think since mid-December. I think. Like, I'm not gonna say too many games because he again had the same injury Reece James had, and we both rushed them both back from injury, which didn't help either of them. But same way, he has massively dropped off the last few weeks. Like, that's just a fact. And the performances back it up as well. So. Same way, I was going to give this one to Reguilon anyway. I couldn't back this one.
Come on, now we're talking.
Moving on into the two centre-backs, Thiago Silva walks into this one. I think that's a easy bet to make. And
can't lie.
Based off your form as well, like, are you not even going to go for the second spot?
I'm gonna put a case forward for Toby Alderweireld. I think he's been our best centre back this season. I know Eric Dyer has been the ever present one, more or less. Toby Alderweireld actually has lost his place last couple of weeks, but I still would put him in there. I still think he's our best centre back, and it's kind of confusing to me why he's not in there week in, week out. So I'll go for Toby. I think Toby and Thiago Silva is probably the best two centre backs at both clubs.
Yeah. This is the thing as well. I'd go for Kurt Zouma, and the same thing is the same annoyance with you, where you're saying he hasn't played recently enough as much you'd want him to. Kurt Zouma realistically should have been starting the last 3 or 4 league games, but for some reason we're persisting more of Antonio Rudiger, and I just don't understand it, because it's no surprise that since Kurt Zuma's been dropped out the side, we no longer look as good as we did in the air. And I remember with you lot, your form from set pieces has been really poor this season. And I'm just looking at this game and I'm thinking, I swear down, if Kurt Zuma does not start this game,
he definitely won't, bro.
Really?
No chance.
How many goals has he scored this year, Kurt Zuma? Like 3 or 4 or something?
Four in the Prem. He's got the same amount of goals as bloody Werner in the league.
Same amount of goals of Aubameyang as well, I think.
Has he got 4 by now?
Thank God. Oh, so he's level with Werner now as well. I can't be asked, but yeah. Fuck's sake. Yeah, same way. I can't lie. I would push Kurt Zuma over Toby Alderweireld. I think I've always rated Alderweireld as a defender anyway. I was saying on the previous debate, I was surprised that Sim went for Vertonghen over Alderweireld because I personally really rated him as a player. But this is Zuma's best season in a Chelsea shirt, in my opinion. Like, statistically, he's been one of the best defenders in the league. So I think he has to go into this one just as well as Thiago Silva does.
I tell you what. I think right now, as it currently stands, I think Toby's a better player than Zuma. But Toby is on the wrong side of his age. He's getting older and older. So I think by the time next season comes around, I think you might be right there.
Okay, so you don't agree with me now, but you'll agree with me soon.
Probably, yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, Father Time's not really on Toby's side, so it's a bit unfair, but we'll take it anyway. I can't lie, Silva and Zuma, it is what it is. We move. Before we go any further, what is the formation? Because we've already stopped with 4 at the back. But what's
4-2-3-1? Sounds fair.
4-2-3-1? We all good? Yeah. You know what? 4-2-3-1 works pretty decent with our lineup as well. Let's go into double pivot now.
Højbjerg.
Yeah, Højbjerg definitely has to make it. Yeah, then I'm putting N'Golo Kante right next to him, to be honest.
Okay. All right, I'll take that middle 2. That's a solid double pivot.
Yeah, like that works perfectly for me. Like I was gonna put 2 Chelsea players there. You just said Højbjerg, and I've forgotten how much he's balled out this season.
Yeah, he's been absolutely central to everything we do this season. I, for one, when we signed him, I thought it was a good signing, but I could never thought what a signing it would have been because we can't play without him now. We're so reliant on him in the middle. So reliant on him.
Yeah, Lawrence, was there anyone else that you wanted to try add to that?
It's a weird one because there's so many names that deserve a shout in that position, I think. Obviously, Højbjerg is a fair one from Spurs. I think it's the only one from Spurs that probably should be in the debate. I mean, Sissoko is very on and off. And Ndombele can dribble. Well, that's about it, in my opinion.
No. I'm not having no Ndombele slander. No chance ever am I having any Ndombele slander. This guy is a baller and he's knocking on the door of world class already. So don't even try that Ndombele slander.
But he's just the worst version of Kovacic.
Oh, come on. Come off it, man. Seriously, man.
I do, because if you do 4-2-3-1, and I do agree with the Kante Højbjerg thing, I'm like, well, Havertz is probably a better player. But Mount has had a much better season. So who do we pick at the 10? Because I don't think there is a Spurs player.
I'm saving Ndombele for that number 10.
Nah.
Yes.
No chance.
What do you mean? Have you even watched Spurs this season? Have you seen how good this guy is? He does things with the football that you couldn't even dream of watching. This guy is
playing a 10.
He has been playing in a 10.
Well, Jose Mourinho 10 maybe, so that's in his own box. Not an actual 10.
No, I promise you, he's been playing as an actual 10.
Well,
in more games.
I have watched a few Spurs games. Whenever he had the ball, I thought it was quite deep, but I didn't necessarily pay attention to the formation.
The last couple of games, he's been deep, yeah. But all in all, he has been playing as a number 10.
Lewis,
or our furthest forward midfielder, that's for sure.
Yeah, I can't lie. I've been hearing a lot of fans saying that you've been playing him a bit further forward, but like, again, I haven't seen enough Spurs games to really make a case for that myself. But Ndombele this season has definitely balled out, especially if you're comparing his first season to the season that he's having right now. So I can't lie. It is a bit of a sticky one in the number 10 position because...
Let me just throw you some stats, okay? Mason Mount is one of only 4 players that have created 50-plus chances this season. He's 4th in the key pass stat in the whole Premier League, and he's even in the top 20 for interceptions and successful tackles. So how is this even a debate? I don't understand.
Look, Ndombele's had his injury problems this year. He's struggled to get fit. It's only recently where he's been completely fit enough to play 90 minutes. But every single minute that he's on the pitch, we appreciate because he adds so much value to the team. He's a press-resistant midfielder that's now doing the defensive work as well as the attacking work. I mean, by trade, I would put him as a box-to-box midfielder, but ultimately, most of his games has been played against the number 10 this season. It's his creative output, the way he can fit that ball behind the lines, the way he can pick out a pass like no other. I'm telling you, he is better player than Mason Mount.
See,
there's no two ways about it. There is no argument. There is no argument between Ndombele and Mason Mount at all.
Well, fair enough. On player quality, maybe we'll maybe have to concede that. Obviously, Mount is younger. But if you're going to go for the ability question, then none of them.
See, you even had to bring the cavalry in for this one.
But neither of them is anywhere near Havertz.
Around in a minute.
Neither of them is anywhere near Havertz. Like not even close.
What's not near Havertz? Sorry.
Neither of Mount or Ndombele, if you go on actual ability, is anywhere near Kai Havertz.
Now, if we're going on to ability, let's do this, because then we can actually throw Kai Havertz into the debate.
What, you're going to put Kai Havertz in there? Come on, man. Did you watch Ndombele at Lyon?
Yeah.
Not really.
Did you watch Havertz at Leverkusen? He has stats
did.
like Messi and Ronaldo.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not saying Havertz is not a good player, but the way you Lawrence, the way you disregard Ndombele is a disgrace.
No. I'm not saying he's a bad player. I'm just saying he's not as good as the other two.
Look, it remains to be seen, but at the moment in the Premier League, Havertz has not done it in the Premier League.
True.
Ndombele has.
Well, he's getting there. I think it's the same way with both of them, but I'm not going to discredit Ndombele. Like, I thought it was going to be a very tricky debate trying to move him out of this anyway. If we're doing this on ability, I can make this another one where it's for the comment section and say it's Havertz or Ndombele. I can't lie, Mason Mount, it's a bit of a sticky one. Like, I rate Mason Mount, but on technical ability, it's not there yet. He's getting there. And it is just a case of youth. I respect that, but not right now. Moving on into the wings.
Wait, who got in? Ndombele got in, yeah?
Oh, if we're doing this on ability, I'm leaving this completely in the middle. If it's based on form, I prefer really not to speak, but we move. Moving on into left wing. Who you lot got on the left-hand side, or which wing are you going to put Son into, basically?
I'm gonna put Son on the left.
Yeah, and you know what? We're doing this based on we're doing this on ability, because I keep getting mixed up in between this. But Son's walking into this. Son v Pulisic. I can't be asked for it. Yeah,
is it not Son against Werner?
No. Frank Lampard's the only one that wanted him at left wing. That was none of us. I'm so sick of seeing Werner on the left wing. Like, you're gonna get me on for another rant. I can't be asked with it. But yeah. Right hand side. Now we've got Heung-min Son out the way. What is this? Is it Gareth Bale or Bergwijn or?
I mean, Gareth Bale is one of the best players of all time in the Premier League history.
Football players.
Premier League history, one of the best left to right wingers in Premier League history. But look, I'm not going to try force Gareth Bale in there. There's no chance of that. But in terms of right wing, the player I'm going to put forward is Steven Bergwijn.
Okay, well, fair play. I feel like that's more the best out of a bad bunch in that position. But yeah, you see, you even nodded as well. I can't be honest. Yeah, for us, who are we putting on the right hand side? It was basically a choice between Ziyech or Hudson-Odoi here.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Like, because that's probably not Ziyech's best position to be. Maybe we should have even made a case for him at the 10. Obviously, he hasn't played that for us. But, in his career and his actual ability, that's maybe closer to his actual best position. Maybe we should have done that. So it's a tough one because obviously Callum has not played that much, but we know how good he is and how good he will be. Probably us more so than you, Ben, just because obviously you won't have watched him as much.
Yeah.
So for me, it's between those two. I don't think Bergwijn, Lucas, whoever from Spurs at the moment comes close. And as much as Bale has been incredible, he's kind of been the best bench warmer in the world for the last 5 years. So, and sub appearances in Champions League finals, fair play to the guy. But I don't know. Like Callum, Ziyech, who would you pick?
For me, I'm leaning more towards Callum Hudson-Odoi because I feel like he offers you more in the fact that he can both go inside and outside. I also really like how comfortable he is, especially for someone at his age and experience or inexperience, because this is the first time where I think we're actually going forward with him as one of our main players in the starting 11. And it is still early days under Thomas Tuchel,
But for someone who's only been there for the first 2 games and also is probably holding a lot of frustration over his lack of game time over the last 18 months, he's taken to it so excellently. It has to be Callum Hudson-Odoi for me as well. Partly because, too, Ziyech hasn't really had a proper run of games in the team. Obviously, he started off excellently with like 2 or 3 man of the matches straight, but disappeared through another injury, came back, hasn't really been the same since. Had a good game against Wolves, but Burnley game, I don't even remember if he played too much in that game. But regardless, the focus was way more on Hudson-Odoi in those last 2 games. So I'd have to go for Hudson-Odoi in this vote as well.
I mean, Hudson-Odoi against Steven Bergwijn is like just an interesting one. Neither of them have really played enough for us to see their full ability. I mean, I saw your game against Burnley and I was really impressed with Hudson-Odoi that game. I thought he was brilliant, but I haven't seen enough of him to really argue him against Steven Bergwijn. Steven Bergwijn came in January last year, hit the ground running, brilliant goal against Man City, scored in a couple of big games since then. He scored against Man United, scored against Wolves. But since this season has started, he hasn't really been able to get on the score sheet. He hasn't scored 1 goal this season. And when you look at a season where we've been heavily reliant on goals from Kane and Son, and we really need other players to start chipping in, you're looking at Steven Bergwijn saying, where's your output? But on the flip side, I would say that our attack looks a lot more kind of balanced when Steven Bergwijn's on the pitch as opposed to when a Lucas Moura, Lamella or Bale's there. So I would always not always, but at the moment, I would say that he's our best right attacking midfielder. But I'm not sure how to argue him against Callum Hudson-Odoi because I haven't seen too much of him, if that makes sense.
No, I could understand half the reason why is because we just refused to play him for the last 4 months, and it was actually so frustrating. But I can't lie, when you described Bergwijn just then, you could have said the same thing about Willian. Like, you really didn't paint him in the best of lights. I can't lie.
But I think that the actual work rate he gives to the team is second to none, and his actual aggression moving forward.
Bro, you're still describing Willian. I can't
lie. Willian was your best player last year.
Tell that to Arsenal.
And now he's our best player at Arsenal.
He's our best
I don't know that.
I will give you're describing Chelsea Willian, not Arsenal Willian. Arsenal Willian can't even give you work rate. So there's some levels to it. But same way, Hudson-Odoi goes in. Let's move up front.
It's not even a debate at striker. Come on now. Let's be honest.
Best striker in Europe?
The World Cup winner, Olivier Giroud, anybody? If we're talking about World Cup winners. I know we started with that. We could finish with that.
If you have enough shame, Lewis, to do that, then do it, because that will only go on you.
We're picking on trophies.
Can we call him the Prince of Wembley? Because Didier Drogba's obviously the king of Wembley. We can call Olivier Giroud the Prince. He's only lost 1 game in Wembley and massive Anthony Taylor tax behind that. So we're not going to talk much about that. Yeah, same way. It's just going to be Harry Kane, isn't it?
I mean, I don't even need to argue this one, do I? Surely.
No, I could say Giroud can put his medals on the table, but it is what it is, and that is just massive tribalism. But yeah, Harry Kane goes into this. It is what it is. Let's roll through the starting 11 one more time. Mendy / Lloris in goal, because we still haven't gone through that yet.
Hennessy Hugo, 100%, man. Come on.
Yeah, definitely Hennessy Hugo for what the reports last year was saying. But
exactly.
Let me not speak too much. Right back, Reece James. Left back, Reguilon. Defense was Zuma and Thiago Silva. I think we stuck with the Chelsea back 2, and we went for.
I thought we said Toby.
Did we say
No,
Toby?
I think if you're getting Reguilon, then you can't have Toby.
Yeah, I can't.
Because I said so.
Zuma's had a better season.
We're going on players' ability. We're not going on if it's fair to have a Chelsea player here and a Tottenham player here.
I think Zuma's season has been better than Alderweireld's, though. That's the thing.
Could be. All right, fine. Go on.
Yeah, cool. We got that one at least.
Seeing I'm on your channel, I'm sure you gave a bit to Simeon on our channel too.
I had to. Otherwise it goes on for hours. You know the vibes. Yeah. Pivot, we went for Højbjerg and N'Golo Kante. Still undecided, but we went for Ndombele or Kai Havertz in the number 10 role.
I love it when it's only a Spurs player is undecided, but if it's a Chelsea player, they're banging there.
No. Højbjerg is decided. In there. Like, it's what Lav said. Lav literally came on yesterday and said you were 4 players FC. You've got 4 players in there. So, I mean, you weren't lying.
Cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
left-hand side as well. We went for, it was Heung-min Son, right-hand side Hudson-Odoi, Harry Kane up front. Final thoughts before we end this live stream. I do want to ask your thoughts
Mate, who's
on
the manager?
Yeah,
That's a tricky one.
here we go.
I think we just count trophies and move on.
Oh, then
so
Giroud
now
starts
we
on
want
top,
to
yeah?
count trophies.
What?
Now we want to count trophies. Is that what we do?
When it goes on managers, I mean, we've got the best manager in your history.
Yeah. I was going to ask.
Disrespect him like that.
Wrong with you guys? No disrespect to Don Jose. You already know how it goes with him. But same way, if we're going to talk about trophies, I do want to ask, and that is low, but it is what it is. What's he done with you guys, though?
What's he done with ours? He hasn't even been at us a full season yet. Give him a chance.
Been around for a year, though.
He came at us midway through last season, and this season we're already in a cup final.
All I'm gonna say is your neighbours already had a cup final in there, like massive Anthony Taylor tax.
Yeah. Lewis, I know you, and don't start coming with the Arsenal propaganda now. Nobody likes to see that.
And I told you I had no shame.
No shame whatsoever.
Really underestimated the lack of shame that I had, but here we are. Like,
so you're talking about Arsenal winning the FA Cup. Yeah, are you going to start saying Arteta's a better manager than Mourinho?
Lewis, what have you done?
Fine, take Jose. Fine.
Thank you, Lewis. Thank you.
I mean, I still think if you go by the last 5 years, Tuchel probably clips him, but on managers, I don't know. We'll have to.
As soon as
like
the league ability, we've lost this one anyway. I just wanted to see how far we could go with it. But yeah, the final thoughts before we wrap this stream up. I do want to get your thoughts on Chelsea this season, obviously before and after Frank Lampard, so we can talk about the collapse and everything as well. But what's your thoughts been on Chelsea this season? Thoughts on us as a squad? And Thomas Tuchel as well, because first week under the new manager, obviously still way too early to tell how it's going to go in the long term. And same way, I'm not even really taking the Spurs game as a full understanding. It's just, I just want to get rid of that duck of not being anybody in the top 6 yet. And this is our best opportunity to do it. But same way with you lot, I know you lot are going to play a very similar style of play to the way Burnley played and the way Wolves play. So if we go out there and we get a win against you guys,
or the way Chelsea won the league, you could put it that way.
Hey, nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it. It's just I know exactly what we're going to face, and that's why I'm not going to be too optimistic, even if we end up getting a win over you guys, because we haven't faced a team that's going to press us yet. But same way, what are your thoughts on Thomas Tuchel? What are your thoughts been on Chelsea this season?
Thomas Tuchel's an interesting one because I thought he did a brilliant job at Dortmund. Went to PSG. It's hard to gauge of how good of a job he did at PSG or not, because that league is just so easy to win for them lot. So, I mean, it's hard to gauge with Tuchel. I mean, when you first appointed him, I thought I didn't really think too much of it, because he's one of those managers that everyone kind of talks about being very in at the moment. I mean, the first 2 games, I think he has got a tune out of you, and it seems as though he's already kind of imprinted something in your squad 2 games in. So I think you got a good manager there. Time will tell to see how it goes, but it's early days. So I think his CV looks good. I think obviously he did good jobs at Dortmund. His CV looks good at PSG, but he never got that Champions League trophy at PSG, which is what he was brought in for at the end of the day. So I think that question marks are still there with Tuchel, but only 2 games in, so it remains to be seen. In terms of the way I assess Chelsea and how they've been this season, I was impressed with the way you started. I was impressed with your transfer window, but I always said in the summer that you brought so many players in at the same time, so many players from abroad. It was always going to take them time to settle in. So it wasn't going to be a case of you bring these players in and they hit the ground running. I said in the summer that I don't think you're going to see the best of Chelsea this season. I think you're going to see the best of Chelsea next season when all your players are kind of bedded in. So I never read too much into what Chelsea were doing this season. I felt that you sacked Frank Lampard too early. I felt that he deserved a bit more time in the job. I felt that he deserved at least until the end of the season, if not until next season, because you were just stuck in that cycle of sacking managers, getting a new manager, sacking managers, getting a new manager. With Lampard, you gave him a project to do and you didn't let him see out the project. So I felt that he just should have had a bit more time. It was going wrong with everyone. You just knew that 2 wins for Lampard, and he was back up there in contention for the top 4. So I felt that Abramovich did push the button a bit too early, but that's just an outsider looking in. But I think with Tuchel, you might have a good manager now. Only time will tell.
Okay, cool. Lawrence, can we get any final thoughts from you before we go into score predictions?
It's a tricky one, obviously, because someone in the chat put earlier that Ndombele is fit. Not sure whether that's true, but someone said that. And apparently he's made out with Dele Alli, which, with how little game time he's had, shouldn't be an issue. But Dele Alli usually turns up against Chelsea. So in general, I'm not a biggest fan of that, if that's true. Could just be mind games. You never know. It's Jose. Of course, we heard the news that Zuma and Havertz picked up niggles in training today and are doubtful for tomorrow's game. So with the Zuma thing, it would have been really good anyways. It probably doesn't really affect us much. The Havertz one, I don't know. I mean, he's obviously a brilliant player and he will be a world star. I'm very confident of that. But whether he would have been our best option to pick tomorrow anyway, I don't know. So whether it will actually affect us much, whether these two are in or not, I don't know. But it's interesting to say. What I actually wanted to ask Ben quickly, what you thought were your expectations of the season now and at the start? Were you thinking, I want to try win the Prem here? Just top 4, win the trophy. What was the aim? Because everyone knows this. Jose's second season is where he's good, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, you didn't have a full first season, so it's maybe a little bit different to judge. But if Jose doesn't win it in his second year, will he ever win it? I don't know.
Look, I think you can say this is Jose's first full year and next year will be his second full year. And I think you don't need to read into second year Jose, third year Jose, this and that. My expectations before this season was a trophy and to finish in the top 4. That's still my expectations now. Yes, kind of when we were top of the league, I did get a bit carried away and thought, we're in a title race here, we're in a title race. But the league was just so congested. Everyone knew one loss, one win puts you up there. 2 losses puts you right back down into 6th or 7th. So us being top of the league at the time was a bit of a false position for us, I believe. But I think that top 4 and a trophy is kind of our aims. And I think it's definitely achievable. I really believe that.
Okay, so cool. That also leaves us a perfect point as well, because we're going to go into the score predictions. Ben, I'm going to start with you as well. I also do think score predictions for whenever it's the Jose game against the top 6 side, it is pointless because we know exactly what's coming, but same way, let's try and be optimistic. Score predictions, please.
In my previews, I put 0-0. I think it's going to be a ball draw this game. I think it's going to be very tight. Chelsea with a lot of possession, with a lot of passes, a shitload of passes, might I add. But I think that we're going to park the bus and try and hit you on the counter with Heung-min Son. And I think without Harry Kane, it's going to be difficult. But I'm looking for Tanguy Ndombele to play that number 10 and kind of play those balls in behind for Heung-min Son and Steven Bergwijn to run onto. I'm going for 0-0.
Right, Lawrence, what about you? What's your score predictions?
Yeah, it's a tricky one because the 0-0, if you're a betting man, the 0-0 is probably what you should go for realistically, just because it's Jose. And as much as we were good against Burnley and beat them very convincingly, we didn't take the big chances we had, and it took our two defenders to actually score the goals. Can happen against Tottenham. No ruling that out. Little bit less likely if Zuma isn't on the pitch. I still think we're gonna win because I think we're picked up a bit of a bounce. A good performance against Wolves. Didn't quite get the win, but still a good performance. A good win against Burnley. While Spurs are kind of on the other kind of way of that hill, if you will, at least over the last couple of games. So hence why I think we'll get the win. Anywhere between a 2-0 and a 2-1. I could certainly see Spurs scoring from a counter attack. Obviously, like Ben mentioned, but. We've had 2 clean sheets so far. Barely had anyone do anything towards our goal. Okay, it was only Burnley and Wolves. Fair enough. Not quite Heung-min Son. But, usually we actually struggle more against those kind of teams than we do against the top teams in terms of not conceding. Fair enough. Arsenal and Man City recently are maybe different examples to that. But in general. So I'm gonna say 2-0, but it's so tough to call because it is Thomas Tuchel's real first big test.
Yeah.
And you know what I love about this preview? We spent 45 minutes hyping this game up to you, all for all 3 of us to tell you that this game is probably going to be a 0-0 draw. I'll be positive and say 1-0 Chelsea, but I was positive for the last game. And 45 minutes into the game, it was clear and obvious that it was going to be a 0-0. So, guys, I'm sorry
If
for
Werner knew how to hold the line, we would have won. So.
Yeah, it's the same way if we subbed on Giroud at halftime, we would have
Or
fucking
that.
won the game as well. Yeah, but I'm not gonna delve too deep into the tactics for that game. I'm just gonna say, please, whoever scores first is probably winning this game. Like,
Agreed. Yeah.
yeah, that's something we can all agree on. But guys, this is the end of the combined 11. I do hope you guys have enjoyed this stream. Smash the like and subscribe button if you guys haven't done it already. Also, click the links in the titles to Lawrence's channel and to We Are Tottenham TV, and click the like and subscribe button to both of these gentlemen as well. We'll see you guys. Should be around for something post-match. We'll chat post-match. One of us will either be in a bad mood or we'll both just be wanting to forget about the match in general. But yeah, we'll chat again post-match. But until then, guys, take care, like and subscribe. And actually, check out Lawrence's channel 4 p.m. because we'll be back for another live stream on his channel. But until then, guys, take care, like and subscribe. And until then, we will leave you with a photo of the Danish brick wall himself. Take care and up the Chelsea.